It is back to school. It is back to school. You got a lot of new teachers coming into the field, which is a good thing. Young teachers that can relate to the students, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You let me know. But one thing, every year that you see is trending is be how teachers dress, right? And the only reason we know about it, not because the kids is coming home, is because of TikTok and Instagram. They do TikToks. It's not necessarily what they're talking about on TikTok, it's how we see them, right? And this is Teacher Bay. And it sounds like this is a student recording, right? And before we watch, it's only 17 seconds, right? From what it looks like, this is a middle school, maybe a high school, by looking at the two kids there, right? She's a young teacher. I'm gonna guess early 20s. She might have just graduated college a year or two before, and now she's a teacher, right? And we do need more teachers to identify with the students. In all fairness, before we just talk about this a little bit more, the way she dressed does not have anything to do with the way she teach, right? Let's just put that out there first. And let's just watch the video.
My baddie, Teacher Bay neighbor. Miss Williams. Cause she's so pretty.
Miss Williams. And before I get into this, this is not in no way, shape, or form to disrespect this lady. I seen an argument made that I can't help the way I'm shaped. Oh, you're discriminating against thick women because we can't wear certain stuff and it don't look the same on other women. Like, in other words, if somebody that wasn't curvy as this lady, would we have an issue with it? And 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't. No different than when a thicker, curvy woman is wearing a loose fitting dress. You won't be able to see her shape through it, right? The big thing is that, do you feel as though as parents with kids going back to school that the way this teacher is dressed is a problem or inappropriate? And we do have situations where kids are sleeping with the teachers, right? Teacher got a husband and she's messing with the teacher. And let's be realistic, it's not necessarily a lot of young black women like this because they don't have the same options. They're not sheltered in the house. They moving and about. If you look on her page, and it was other teachers like her, I looked on their pages, like they out and about, not living crazy, but they just regular women. They just dress the way they dress. And it may not be appropriate for school because of their shape. That's it. If she was straight up and down, I don't think people would have a problem. Now, the other side of that is that, let's just be honest. I'm not going to say her per se, but some other videos I've seen while looking into this, leggings, like way thicker than this lady, respectfully, with erasing the board, back to school, getting ready, POV of teachers getting ready. And yeah. There's a lot going on. In that it's like separating the wheat from the tare in a sense, because there's a lot of teachers out here trying to get attention. Just women in general. And I think in some cases it's women in general, because it's not no way that video that's not up here, she knew what she was doing. She set the camera up, or the phone rather, to you could look at her ass. And everybody in the comments was looking at her ass. Respectfully, I seen it too. It's crazy because, like, they are not that naive. These are smart women, obviously, right? It's like even with, like, Fox News, right? They recruit a certain type of woman to sit up there and spew conservative rhetoric. Liberal news does the same thing. Get some women up there of a certain aesthetic to spit liberal um stuff, whatever. But the point is, like, even with like weather ladies now, they'll dress like the way this young lady is dressed, and they know people gonna watch it, even women. Either they're gonna watch it for her in the weather, but all right, just because she look a certain type of way, we're gonna watch it to get two things done. We're gonna lust a little bit and we're gonna get the weather. But even men understand the way everybody is wired, whether they like it or not. They're gonna go watch this lady on the weather, and it in turn get them more views. So I said all that to say people and women do understand this, right? But some say it's not fair. They picking with women or black women in particular. And it's not just black women that wear tight fitting clothes to work or whatever, right? What about it from the male perspective as a male teacher? Now, men moving in society, we don't, especially in the professional setting, we not just turning our head looking. They might look when you're not looking, or they think ain't nobody else looking, right? But for the most part, they know how to conduct themselves. But don't think they don't know. So is it appropriate? What about older male students? They nothing but hormones. They wake up, they think hard. What about them? I really personally don't have a problem with what she have on, right? She probably the best teacher in there. And if that's what it take to get some of these little young kids in there to sit still for 5 seconds, more power to you. Like, maybe I'm progressive in this sense a little, but like, I don't have a problem with it, but I can see why other people would have a problem with it. But here's the other side of this, right? Let's go to another video. Because what they're basically getting at is like this right here. We ain't going to hang too much on this, but I found another video of another teacher, right? Hold on. Is this it? Hold on. Hey, you don't need that music. Hold on. This is the teacher, but this is not the video. But let's just forget what she doing, right? Look at her clothes. I mean, this same lady, loose fitting clothes, right? Kind of, sort of. But look at her gyrating around. Nobody got a problem with it. Nobody. Know why? They think it's quirky and it's cute. And because she's not built like the other woman. If Miss Williams was doing this, they would have a fit. So to a certain degree, it is some unfairness when it comes to the teachers and the way they shape and the way they built. Here's this teacher again, just like switching outfits, right? Hold on. Hold on. Can't play that music. This is 12 seconds, but we're going to just do what we do. We're going to do what we do. All right, so look, don't this look more appropriate? Because it's loose fitting, right? Is she going through her week Tuesday? Wednesday? And I do think that to a certain degree, that's more appropriate. But the other side of that is if it's not really a dress code, you know what I mean? You really can't say nothing. Because people got different styles. They got different ways they express themselves, right? All of us is not the same unless there's a dress code and say, hey, you gotta wear this type of top and this type of bottom or this type of dress. But at the same time, even though her clothes is tight fitting, they are like office attire professional. She just shapely. If this same woman, I can't really tell if she real curvy or not because her clothes. But if it was a slim lady, wearing that same outfit, nobody would have a problem. And I guess it's a double standard. It's no different than a man. They made this argument, a man, like you got a big meat print, the gray sweatpants, and you just your meat big for no reason. You just in there third leg in it, and the kids and then the little girls looking at your meat. How would people feel about that if men start doing stuff like that? He can't help his meat that big. Pause. So I mean, I think we gotta be grown ups about everything. Like, I if 9 times out of 10, let's be honest, Miss Williams is attractive, and the young dude's gonna be on her. They're gonna be looking at her butt while she writing on the board. Even the little girls, because these little kids, especially in the inner city, they turn them gay, so they into it too. I don't know. I would say that people should have the freedom to express themselves appropriately, as long as they ain't breaking no rules. And I think both is fine. But if I had a preference, I would prefer the teachers to look like this. But whatever makes them comfortable. I'm not nobody. I'm just giving my opinion. And I'm gonna say this before we move on past the teachers. This is in no way to discredit any of these women or any teachers in general, because we need teachers. They need to get paid more, and we need to protect them, right? And I think that's really not the main issue when it comes to teaching.
Yeah, well, be
These are my private parts, private parts, private parts. These are my private parts. No one should touch them. No one should squeeze them. And if you touch my private parts, private parts, private parts. And if you touch my private parts, I will tell my mother. I will tell my father. I will tell my teacher. These are my private parts, private parts, private parts. These are my private parts. No one should touch them. No one should squeeze them. And if you touch my private parts, private parts, private parts. And if you touch my private parts, I will tell my mother. I will tell my father. I will tell my teacher.
Imagine a kid, right? They get in elementary school, they in the kindergarten, and somebody been touching them their whole life. They only little 5 or 6 years on the planet. They think that's regular. And the teacher starts singing that song. And no, nobody should touch him. Nobody should squeeze him. And she's pointing to the parts. And you see all the kids around you. They into it. Yeah. These are my private parts. Meanwhile, you can see that kid. If you that teacher, right? The kid that's being touched should stand out like a sore thumb because they looking confused. You gonna see kids who mom and dad probably had this conversation with them and said, you know, nobody should ever do this or ever do that, and don't never be afraid to come to me, right? You just got kids in different situations all together, right? And I think that this is great in a sense because, like, yeah, you gotta think about what it get the message out there, and this might end up on a kid's page, and they need to see that, or it might motivate other teachers because a lot of people get their social cues from each other. Hey, that's a good idea. I'm gonna bring that and put that. I'm gonna put that in my toolbox and utilize that in my classroom. By the second week of school, after I got all the kids settled in the pre-K or kindergarten, we're gonna go over this song. We ain't got to get into details, but it's private parts, not the different parts and what they do. That's going a little bit too far. But this area or that area, and I think that's cool. Because you go pick your kid up from school. These are my private parts. Private. They singing it in the car, the back seat. Where you learn that? You like now when you dropping your kid off, thanks. Yeah, I like that. Now let's get to the curriculum. But yeah, but teachers see kids with bruises on their arm, on their back, coming in sad, hungry. So not only are they teaching the kids, they watching out for different stuff and noticing things and seeing patterns in the kids, even just by the homework. They could kind of judge the house by looking at how your kids show up. What type of mood they in? A lot of you goofy parents yell at your kid first thing in the morning and fuck their whole day up. How would you feel if your boss yelled at you when you got to work? Your whole day fucked up. Quit. I'll whoop his ass. I'll whoop her ass. You don't know me. Ugh. Imagine a kid that don't have the life experience or just the discipline, right? To be able to deal and to be able to deal with that, and now they got to go learn. They gotta go focus on x to the second power, whatever. 1 + 1 is 2. But you just throw them off. So the teachers are dealing with everything that come through the door. So like, I think this is great. I think this is one way, to even teach the kids how to come and tell them, to let them know it's okay. Because they know kids like to listen to music and stuff like that because the programming. So this is a friendly way of the social engineering when it comes to like the stuff that we listen to being utilized in the right way. So shout out to her. And I forgot what these bags are called, but I got an email for my daughter for school. And these bags, that's where they put their phone. They put their phone in these bags and they lock them in that. I think they put the phone in the locker or they give it to the teacher. I think maybe the locker. I don't know how this works, but like maybe some classes, some schools they put them in the locker and some they might let them carry the phone with them throughout the day. But the thing is they can't use them. Right? Now we seen what happened when cell phones hit the scene. They fighting gang violence in the bathroom, schools with the kids with their school uniforms fighting in the bathroom. They threaten each other on Instagram and TikTok. They cheating, ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? So like it's hard, especially when it comes to the work, it's hard to really gauge where they at if they could cheat. Some will argue, in case of emergency, they could raise their hand and ask the teacher. They do not need their phone. Some jobs don't even let adults use their phone. Tell it if it's an emergency, have them call the office and we'll, get to you. Boom. Especially, but now it's kind of more common. Everybody got a phone. It's like we kind of like laxed on when it comes to the phone, just answering the phone during the day for the most part. But once upon a time, hey, tell them to call the office. No cell phones. So as grown-ups, we had to adapt to that. So because I say that to say this because a lot of parents had problems with it, right? But I think this is a good thing, especially with TikTok brain. You got grown-ups that just swiping and swiping. I think kids are more impulsive, so I think this is great. Now they can focus on the curriculum, right? They can focus on learning. And I'm gonna say this, right? I want these kids to win. I want all these kids to win because it is so hard out here. Like, I feel like a coaching a team that been losing. They got some good players, but they just don't show up for practice. But I know if they show up for practice and apply themselves, they'll go all the way. And that's how I feel when it comes to topics like this when we talk about these kids, right? Because this is really near and dear to me because I was them and a system failed me. Right? And the surrounding areas and all the social infrastructure failed me, right? So now I think that if we could get these kids focused on school, make being a nerd in style, we'll be on Mars. We'll be in on another planet. We'll figure out how to just pull energy from air. We'll have all the cures, right? And not just certain people with the information locking everybody out of it, right? Controlling medicines, the prices of everything, because only a handful of people controls what we know and don't know and what's released and what's not and who get access and don't get access. So we need to have these kids educated, right? And not just that, we need them to get into politics, to change the world, change the country we live in so it can reflect the people that's living in it. It's so many things. So yeah, you can play with your phone. Look, you got your whole life to be an adult. You'll have plenty time to play with your phone after you study. But keep your eyes on the prize, like places like China, right? And some may say this is not fair, but these kids ain't kids. They in school all day. This is a team that come to practice every day. That's parents that's committed to the same. Everybody has the same goal, the same end game. And that's to win. While we dancing and shit. And that's cool. That's our culture. And everybody ain't dancing. But my point is, we need to focus on education, man. I'm telling you. It's the way out. And anybody's hindering that, fighting against education, making excuses when somebody try to make a change under the guise of they for us, they're not. Is anybody out here got, when people move in to try to stop the violence and crime, they overreaching. Until you put a kid in the casket, I don't want to hear your mouth. They not our people. I'm off on the tangent and bringing it back. But there's a lot of people that look like me and the kids, right? And I mean this for everybody, right? But they look like me. It may look like you. The shit that they doing don't match the shit that they say. That's why you can look back at the data, because they love data and stats. These people we vote for has failed our kids extremely. They created this problem. And the way life is, and you be boggled down, a lot of people can't even step in the way they need to fix it. And then those people have kids and have kids. Now it's the blind leading the blind out here. So yeah, take those phones away.
Yeah. Well,
After all the things I've seen in my daughter's phone from other elementary students, she can't be friends with y'all kids no more. At all. Like, I don't care how nobody feel about it. I'm talking about even in class. I'm gonna make it a point. Y'all kids need to stay away from my child. I'm gonna start outing y'all and y'all kids, because y'all obviously not doing a good job as parents, and y'all obviously not monitoring their phones, because the stuff I see them saying to each other and sending to my daughter is outrageous.
I just want to stop right there. He right. And see, remember we just watched the video of them taking the phones. And it brings us back like, excuse me. These kids are watching corn on there. They learning about unaliving themselves. They're making videos about each other. I witnessed it. They get in a fight, they record the fight and post it online. They in the bathroom fighting. Now that's on the internet. The kid got to do the shame forever. You really can't get them transferred because it's like, what do you do? But he's right. And in all fairness, that kid was exposed to something. They opened that thing up. Web browsers, it's so many ways around you trying to make it like a phone for your kid. They talk to each other. All it takes, it's like a spirit or something. The evil one. If one kid was exposed to explicit material online, look at this. They show it humping. And now that spirit is in your kid. Now that kid talked to two other kids. Those two kids talk to two other kids. And so forth and so forth. That's the spirit. Well, look at this gun. Look at that girl. Look at that boy. And not just heterosexual stuff. So now the seed is planted. Now the curiosity is there. They mimicking thug culture and thinking that's the way they supposed to act. They're mimicking baddies. That's the way they think that's how they supposed to act. Hence what he said about the stuff that they sending each other. I can only imagine. But the sad thing is, even with dad and his passion and goodwill and his position, and he's right, is not going to stop your daughter in elementary school from, while you're not there talking to those kids, or even being exposed to all the stuff that we try to protect them from. You'd be surprised what these kids know about life in elementary school. I'm talking second grade, first grade. Think about the videos we see with moms twerking in front of the son. He looking at the butt, tapping the butt. You don't know what's happening to these kids. And they go into school and they're around your kid. And now your kid got the spirit of curiosity. These are my private parts. Now, let's say one of these kids never came across that song or had the teacher who played that song and they taught it and understood that, hey, these are my private parts. Now, this kid, private parts been played with and want to play with your kid's private parts. And by the time you find out about it, it's too late. Too late. Now your kid got that. It's just so much stuff.
And it's not even the little boys. You would think it's the little boys, and it's not. It's the little girls. That's so crazy. They in elementary, and they saying and doing stuff that even high schoolers ain't doing. Stuff that I'm uncomfortable reading, that I don't even hear adult women saying. Asking each other, do they touch it? They trying to experiment with each other. One girl talking about she sticks a brush in it. A brush? You're in fucking elementary. Another girl dropped a screenshot of something that hit her For You page from TikTok. White woman, laid back, nothing on, not even socks. Emoji stars covering the top nips. A strawberry emoji covering the front hole. A banana emoji covering the back hole. Why is that on TikTok? I verified it. I looked at the account, searched it up. You can see the likes. You can see how long it's been there. The whole screenshot. She didn't edit anything. Dropped it in a group chat with 13 other elementary.
That's the spirit. And I didn't watch this video until now. I didn't know he was going to say that. The spirit of curiosity. I don't want to repeat what he said. We heard it. And it's everything I just said. I am not repeating that.
Girls, I'm baffled. I'm going through my daughter's phone. I'm baffled. Y'all gonna have to keep y'all kids away from my daughter. Y'all gonna have to keep y'all kids far away. I don't care who these kids is.
I hate to tell you, it's too late. Not to say that your daughter going mimic any of that explicit behavior, but she's been exposed to it. You can't untoast the bread.
Is like, it's outrageous. It's like y'all cannot be going through y'all kids' phones. They sending each other apps, poly apps. You know what I mean to be poly? That mean you like girls, boys, all in between. Anime characters on there, all dressed erotic. Talking to the kids. The app is talking to the kids. I'm reading the conversations. It's text messaging the kids. They got apps where they sending each other videos, and it's a whole bunch of Asian boys, and they always making videos talking about some when she giving you this or she giving you top, and you can't stop fantasizing about him. Boys watching other boys get stuff done to them by girls.
All right, at this point, you gotta take that phone up to school. We gotta get with the principal. We gotta get with every parent inside of that group chat that your daughter's in and have a sit down, because they need to know. Because yeah, you love your daughter, but those are kids as well. And your daughter gone, Doug. She gone. If you wouldn't have checked the phone, it would have kept progressing. And there's no telling that you may have took the phone. She might be on the tablet doing the same shit. You can't. And you can't like just take the phone now. She can't control what somebody sent to her. But like you said, it's apps, and you obviously explored the apps that you bringing the stuff to us, which is great. But it's time to have a sit down. It's time to have a sit down. I don't want to hear any more of that. It's disturbing.
Yo, bitch.
A couple of years ago, maybe like 2 years ago. School, I could throw a rock at the school and hit it from my house. That's how close it is. Maybe 3 years ago. First day of school, somebody got shot in the head in front of the school. I heard people complaining about metal detectors, like, you like making the kids feel this way and da da da. No, I want the kids to be safe. There's so much stuff in these inner cities that these kids got to deal with, and they supposed to be equipped to go graduate and go compete with the other kids who ain't got these problems, right? In their neighborhoods. It's just so much. I don't know where to begin. But I'm gonna say this to the parents, yo. We gotta, follow with the good brother we just watched. And hopefully his daughter not. I ain't mean no disrespect to you if you see this, Doug. It just, I mean it in the sense she already exposed to it. You be surprised that stuff you go through with your kids, right? You find out some shit. It's like finding out your kids smoke, right? Oh, you shouldn't smoke. You take the shit that they got. And then 3 months later, you find out they were smoking again. Or they thought you were sleeping, and wasn't paying attention now, and they in the room high. Or they got bold and thought they could smoke in the room and blow it out the window, and you smell it. So I said it to say you could catch him doing something and take it and correct them at that moment. That don't necessarily mean they ain't going to do it down the line. No matter what they say to you, they just got caught. And that's all I meant by that. But as parents, yo, like he did, you got to do your due diligence. It might hurt your feelings what you find in your daughter's phone. But you got to, and check their search history. Have them thinking that you always going to do periodic searches and shakedowns. And kids, they'll forget. They'll leave the shit there. They will. So just be vigilant, and check the kids' phones. Help them with their homework. Ask them how their day was. Sit down and talk to them. Make time for them. Come up to school. Come to the conferences. Do what you're supposed to do as a parent. Welcome back to school.